So what's in a name? Well, for one of the most celebrated units in the Bangladesh Army, their nickname tells this incredible story of ferocity and fire. We're talking, of course, about the 10th East Bengal Regiment.
Right off the bat, you're hit with that nickname, the Vicious 10th. I mean, that's not something you hear every day for a military unit, right? It just makes you wonder, why? What's the story behind a name that intense?
Well, the answer isn't something you're going to find in a dusty old rulebook. It was actually forged in the heat of a single defining moment, the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. See, their story isn't just about a battalion. It's about the birth of an entire nation.
Yeah, this wasn't a unit that was formed during some peacetime drill. The Vicious 10th was born literally right in the middle of the chaos of war, and they had an immediate and incredibly critical purpose.
And in their own language, Bengali, the name is even more powerful. Durdharsha Dash. It just perfectly captures that reputation for being fierce, for being relentless. This wasn't a name that was assigned to them. It was a name they earned.
Just try to picture this for a second. It's the middle of a desperate war for independence, and a new battalion is being formed, not in some quiet barracks, but on foreign soil, right on the border, with one single urgent mission: to fight.
And that brings us to the one battle that would define their legacy forever. It was right here, at Bilonia, that the 10th East Bengal Regiment would earn that famous name and really cement its place in history.
Okay, so this was a classic David versus Goliath situation. You had the Vicious 10th going up against a much larger, better-equipped Pakistani force. I mean, on paper, they were the underdogs, for sure. But what happened next? Well, it would become the stuff of legend for military strategists in Bangladesh for years to come.
So how'd they do it? It wasn't about brute force. It was all about brilliant strategy. Under the command of Captain Jafar Imam, they pulled off this classic siege tactic. Step 1, they completely encircled the enemy. Step 2, they cut off all their supply lines. No reinforcements, no resupply. And finally, Step 3, they just applied this relentless pressure until the other side had no choice but to pull back.
The impact of this victory was just immense. It sent a loud and clear message. This new Bangladesh army, even though they were young and outgunned, could absolutely defeat a conventional force using superior strategy. It proved that in war, sometimes brains really can be more powerful than brawn.
Okay, so now we know how they earned that legendary name. Let's take a closer look inside the battalion as it is today. What makes the Vicious 10th tick?
So at its heart, the battalion is a force of around 850 personnel. But it's so much more than just a number. It's this highly integrated machine where every single soldier, from a rifleman all the way up to the officers, works together as one seriously effective unit.
And their structure is just built for efficiency. You've got the command center at HQ, then you have the 4 main rifle companies that are basically the fighting fists of the unit. And backing them up are these crucial support elements, providing heavy firepower like mortars and anti-tank weapons, plus all the logistics and medical support they need. It's basically a self-sufficient fighting force.
And every little piece of their identity tells a story. Their motto, "Let's go to war," wow, it reflects this fearless, proactive spirit. The colors are so symbolic: green for the land of Bangladesh, and this deep maroon that represents the blood of sacrifice. And their insignia, the Royal Bengal Tiger. I mean, could there be a more perfect symbol of their fierce national pride?
So, how have the skills that were forged back in the War of 1971 translated to today? Well, they've been carried on to the world stage, where the Vicious 10th now serves a very different but an equally vital mission.
You got to understand, the battalion today has this dual mission. Back home, they're the guardians of the nation's borders. But abroad, they trade their national flag for the blue helmet of the United Nations, serving as ambassadors of peace and really boosting Bangladesh's global reputation.
And they aren't just showing up, they are serving with distinction in some of the most challenging peacekeeping environments on the entire planet. The very expertise that was born in the conflict of 1971 is now being used to bring stability to places like the Central African Republic, the Congo, and Darfur.
So, when you put it all together, what's the ultimate takeaway from the story of the 10th East Bengal? What is their lasting legacy, really?
Their evolution is just remarkable. Think about it. They started as a guerrilla force born in the Liberation War, they became a key player in national security, and now they're a globally respected peacekeeping unit. That's a journey from fighting for their own nation to keeping peace for the entire world.
So you see, in the end, the vicious 10th is so much more than just a military unit. Their story is completely woven into the fabric of Bangladesh itself. They really stand as this living symbol of the nation's resistance, its courage, and its incredible capacity for tactical ingenuity.
And it all leads to this one final question, doesn't it? How can the story of a single military unit so perfectly reflect the spirit of an entire nation? It seems that sometimes, if you really want to understand a country's resilience in its character, you just need to look at its heroes.